Welcome to News You Missed.
Hello everybody, it's Wednesday the 1st of October 2025. We're here, it's my first story. We're just going to jump straight into it because the US Senate has failed to pass the stopgap spending bill just hours before the midnight deadline because it needs to avoid a government shutdown. It just seems like every year we get to this point. Is it just all part of the pantomime? Republicans who hold the majority needed Democratic support under Senate rules. Democrats rejected the proposal, of course they did, offering their own plan to extend healthcare subsidies and block cuts to Medicaid. Both sides are blaming each other for the stalemate, while President Trump has warned of deep cuts to government services and mass federal layoffs if no agreement is reached before midnight. Oh, Drew, it is almost like they're just messing with each other at this point. It really is.
And what's interesting is I think there's more government shutdowns to come worldwide. And as Charlie said, well, this is just the beginning now, isn't it?
Yeah. We're seeing all sorts of weird stuff going on out there.
My first story of the day is Elon Musk says he's cancelled his Netflix subscription, accusing the platform of pushing transgender ideology on kids. Netflix hasn't commented, but expect more culture war headlines. Only Elon could cancel a $12 subscription and turn it into global news.
Well, Drew, my next one. The United States has placed South Africa on its human trafficking watch list, accusing Pretoria of failing to show progress in tackling the crime. The State Department's annual report highlights weak coordination among agencies, delays in victim support, and fewer investigations compared with last year. While it noted some gains, including new task forces and convictions, officials say South Africa still falls short. Brazil was also added to the list, with Washington warning that both countries must step up efforts to fight forced labour and exploitation.
Next up, Trump says it would be an insult if he doesn't win the Nobel Peace Prize should his Middle East peace plan succeed.
Well, Drew, my biggest story of the day. In an extraordinary gathering, Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth summoned hundreds of US generals and admirals to the Marine Corps Museum in Quantico without prior notice. He used the meeting to denounce toxic leaders, launch sweeping reforms on fitness, grooming and combat standards, and lambast diversity and inclusion efforts as part of a woke military culture. He also backed his proposed rebranding of the Pentagon as the Department of War. President Trump, speaking to the assembled officers, declared they were reawakening the warrior spirit. Drew, this is good news because you're not going to respect a military if they all look like they couldn't fight their way out of a paper bag, could you?
My next story is the United Nations is sounding the alarm after Afghanistan's internet was cut nationwide, calling it extremely serious for human rights. Aid groups warn that shutting down connectivity cripples banking, hospitals and emergency services. In 2025, pulling the plug on the internet is like cutting oxygen, only less popular.
Drew, that's affected everything down to TV. And Afghanistan's officials have turned around and said this is just to stop immorality. Which, I don't know. I'm in two minds of this. Because sorry, Drew, after you.
No, I was going to say, well, it might be just a test because it's going to happen worldwide, guys. So we've got to prepare. I've got my Starlink on the roof.
Brilliant. I'm sitting here though thinking, do you know what? I wouldn't mind the internet going down and just switching off from all this connectivity just for a little while. Well, my next story. In Switzerland, a man is choosing jail over paying a fine for what courts ruled a transphobic Facebook post. Emmanuel Bruni-Schultz was convicted under anti-discrimination laws after writing in 2022 that biological sex is determined by skeletons and dismissing LGBTQ identity as a mental illness. He was fined 500 Swiss francs, but refused to pay, opted instead for a 10-day prison term starting December the 2nd. The case has sparked fierce debate online and even drew a reaction from Elon Musk, who posted simply, exclamation mark.
Next up, Denmark has banned all civilian drones ahead of a major EU summit after mysterious UAV sightings near airports and military bases. The US is even sending anti-drone systems to Copenhagen. Leaders will meet under the shadow of heightened security, with technology firmly on the agenda. Bad news if you're a kid with a Christmas drone, suddenly your toy is NATO's problem.
Well, Drew, my next story. A powerful 6.9 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Cebu in central Philippines late Tuesday, killing nearly 60 people and injuring hundreds. The city of Bogo and surrounding towns have declared a state of calamity as officials assess the damage. Power outages and building collapses have been reported while hospitals treat patients outside due to ongoing aftershocks. Residents are sleeping in the streets for safety, and authorities are urging caution around historic structures, including old churches. Rescue and aid efforts are underway.
Next up, authorities in Poland have arrested a Ukrainian driver accused of taking part in the 2022 Nord Stream pipeline explosions. Germany is seeking his extradition. This could reopen debates about who was really behind the blasts that shook Europe's energy supply. 3 years later, Nord Stream still has more twists than a Netflix thriller, except with fewer binge watchers and more sanctions. I mean, I think they just can't decide who they want to blame.
Oh yeah, 100%, Drew. 100%. Thing is, though, they think a couple of drunk people on a fishing boat or on a sailboat managed to take out the Nord Stream pipeline. Come on, people, use your common sense. Well, my last story of the day, we're heading back over to the UK. Health Secretary Wes Streeting has demanded an apology after an NHS website suggested there are advantages to first cousin marriages, despite clear medical evidence of increased health risks. The now removed article acknowledged higher rates of birth defects, but claimed cultural and economic benefits. Streeting condemned the advice as unsafe and harmful, insisting it should never have been published. Studies, including the Born in Bradford project, show children of first cousin couples are twice as likely to suffer congenital anomalies compared to the general population.
Okay guys, what I've decided to do is a little bit of financial funnies at the end, so we've hit it all in one show. So, financial and markets roundup. The White House is set to launch Trump RX, a direct-to-consumer drug site, as Pfizer cuts prices on several medications. On Wall Street, Nvidia briefly touched a $4.5 trillion market cap, the first company in history to do so. In London, police confirmed the largest Bitcoin seizure ever, worth, drumroll, £5.5 billion. The funds were tied to a Chinese fraud scheme. Meanwhile, Tether moved 8,888 Bitcoin, around $1 billion, into its reserves in the third quarter. Ripple CTO David Schwartz will step down at year's end through he'll remain on board. And the SEC is exploring tokenized stocks with decisions on XRP and Solana ETFs expected in October. On commodities, gold surged to nearly 3,870 an ounce, setting a new record high, while the Iraq Stock Exchange jumped 46% in trading value. Finally, cannabis stocks soared after Trump endorsed CBD for seniors. Tilray spiked more than 60%. Between gold, Bitcoin and cannabis, it seems the only thing not going up is government stability.
Well, everybody, we've done a bumper show today, and wow, thanks, Drew, for doing the financial funnies as well. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you all join us today, and it is Wednesday, the 1st of October. What does that mean, Drew? Means Insiders Club tonight, doesn't it?
It does indeed, and we have Dr. Brian Ardis.
Oh, fantastic. Because Dr. Ardis, wow, what he doesn't know about what's going on out there medically is just brilliant. And I think they've got a big event coming up as well. So if all of you want to join us, head over to charlieward.com, sign up for the Insiders Club, join us live every Wednesday and Saturday. You get to ask live questions to doctors and a whole host of other guests and find out what's really going on, because Secretary of Defence Hegseth bringing all generals and admirals into one place? Seems a bit fishy there, and we're going to talk about that tonight. So all that's left for me to say is to take care, God bless, and see you all soon.
Bye bye.